Alright, Shalom. First, I'd like to start by saying all praise to Yahweh by Shema Shai, by Shema Karkadash, double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well, and salutations to the brothers that's doing the truth and sincerity. Now, this is what happened up in Chicago. It says at least 72 shot, 13 killed in Chicago over a violent summer weekend, police department says. So I'm going to go ahead and jump right into it. It says Chicago, at least 72 people were shot, including 12 fatally over the weekend in Chicago. Another eruption of violence in a city that has struggled with murders and shootings in recent years, even as the national homicide rate hovers near historic lows. It says police investigated a 13th murder, the slaying of a 32-year-old woman who was found dead around 9 p.m. It says Sunday in a bathtub with her hands and feet bound. The Cook County Medical Examiner's Office was scheduled to conduct an autopsy Monday to determine how the woman, Chantel Ballard, was slain. It says, in this Sunday, August 5th, 2018 photo, the woman cried outside the Stroger Hospital in Chicago, or Stroger I think it's called, hospital in Chicago, after they were asked to leave due to overwhelming crowds of family and friends of shooting victims. Police superintendent. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and jump into some scriptures, and then I'm going to continue reading. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother. Right, and that's why all these killings are happening. Because of the curses that's upon Israel. Israel is killing each other, man. The men killing the men, and as that continues, it's going to go into the women. And toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. And we know these fathers be leaving their sons to these mothers. Verse 56, it says, the tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, right? Because the women used to be feminine. Her eyes shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son, and toward her daughter. Right, so women doing the same thing these men doing out here. Those are curses that's on Israel. That's why a lot of these deaths are happening in Chicago. But, nonetheless, there's prophecy. The Lord said 2/3 shall be cut off and die. Because Jake is wicked. When you read these news clippings and stuff, and they be saying the murder rate is low and all this extra shit. One, why name it Chirac then? Two, prophecies say that the Lord gonna be killing a lot of these people because of the times we're living in, man. So all I'm saying is you can't believe the numbers that Esau give you when reading these articles. Sometimes it might be true, but majority of the time, when you line it up with the prophecies always win, man. This is Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord Yahweh came unto me, saying, thou shalt not take thee a wife, neither shalt thou have sons and daughters in this place. For thus saith the Lord concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place, and concerning the mothers that bear them, and and concerning the fathers that begat them in this land, they shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth. Right, so it's getting to that point. It's gonna become a time where what's going on with these people is that the Lord is actually also strengthening these spirits and getting them ready for race wars. So a lot of these deaths that's going on, people are already used to. Ain't nobody crying for them or none of that, man. You know, but it's gonna come a time where, you know, these people just gonna be laying flat out everywhere, like how they was in Mexico. You know, bodies everywhere. You know, not being buried and stuff, man. So I'm gonna read that again. It says, "They shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried." Right, and that's the spirit we gotta be in, man. Don't be crying for these people, because they 2/3, man. Neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, and they shall be consumed by the sword and by famine. Right, and that sword is, you know, killing instruments. And by famine, that's coming. And their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth. Right, so yeah, it's only gonna get worse, man. You know, and the Lord said, "Don't have no sons and daughters in this place because of the times that we living in, man." You know, but it happens. You know, the women gonna be saved anyway by the man. You know, so. But this is let me see. Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8. It says, "And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die, 2 parts of the blacks, Latins, Native Americans. But the third shall be left therein, but there's going to be a 1/3 that the Lord going to have be delivered. And I will bring the third part through the fire," right? So the third going to be tested, "and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried," through what? The tribulation that's coming. You know, so this is small compared to what's coming, man. "And I will," it says, "they shall call on my name," right? So we do have the name. "And I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord Yahweh is my power," right? So we're going to call upon the name of Yahweh by Shemel Shai in that time for deliverance, man. You know, Yahweh is how we have the elect, you know. But this is back to the article. It says, "No arrests have been made in any of the incidents, but police and investigators have strong leads for some of the shootings. And a lot of times, the police and stuff just be letting that shit go, letting these people get away with these murders and stuff. That's what Jake get for being wicked. The Lord said, come up out of her, my people. You know, come up out of the mind frame of this place. You know, the gangs and, you know, all the wickedness that this place deals with, the pride of this place, the homosexuality, the bestiality type shit, you know, or you know, trying to establish yourself in this place, you know, so you can be delivered, so you won't get wiped away with everything that's going on. But Jake don't want to hear, man. You got camps in Chicago right now proclaiming the downfall of this kingdom and salvation through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. And don't look like Jake want to hear it. But, you know, that's prophecy. It says there's a shortage of values about what is right, what is wrong. Mayor Rahm Emanuel said, right. And not only is it in Chicago, you got camps all over the world right now, man. On the internet, on YouTube. Jake and them spend most of their time on the internet and on YouTube if they got the internet, you know. And if they don't, you know, they getting this information from somebody. Or if they're not, they're in the streets. But the Lord said that they was going to get this word regardless. So it says there's a shortage of values about what is right, what is wrong. Mayor Rahm Emanuel said, "We as a city in every corner have an accountability and responsibility. If you know who did this, be a neighbor, speak up." And you know they're using that because that's spiritually in Jake them. Being a neighbor. But it says the violence, which police say is primarily fueled by gangs, disproportionately affects several swaths of low-income black and Latino neighborhoods. See, because that's the curses on the city's west and south sides. And Esau makes sure that this stuff happens because, you know, it was still of the Lord. The Lord put the spirit on Esau to create the gangs, bring in the drugs, you know, bring in the whoredom, you know, the pimps, the wickedness. But Esau gonna be destroyed for it. It was all a setup. It was all a setup. And Jake and them don't even know it. That's why they're doing what they're doing. That's why the Lord said, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee. See, we came back through the spirit power of Yahweh Shah waking us up. We get the understanding of what's going on to keep us away from it, to keep us out of it. Because at one point in time, like the scriptures say, we was going about with the wind, you know. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. Woe meaning destruction to you elite Edomite devils who created the gangs and brought the drugs in and the cultural creation, you know, that promotes violence. And now Israel taking part of the violence and they want to cry behind shit happening. But, you know, if they were smart enough, they would know that, you know, Israel's smart enough. They just wicked, man. It don't matter. It says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, right? So this is what you see going to him was carefully thought out by a think tank that the elites own and put into play. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. And they covet fields and take them by violence, right? So how did we get to America? They took everything, took our land and houses and take them away, so they oppress a man in his house and even a man in his heritage. And ultimately, because one, Israel don't know who they are. Two, ain't no man in the house. See, this world is uplifting the women and having everybody govern themselves behind being emotional. You know, going back to the Willie Lynch letter, man. It says, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, behold, against this family do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall you go heartily, for the time is evil. Right, so ultimately, what's going to happen to America is destruction. And what's going to happen to your elites, y'all going to go into slavery for 1,000 years. You know, and then after that, y'all going to be destroyed. For you Edomite devils, you white people. And the rest of the heathen are going into slavery. And then they're going to be put back in their own land to be tributaries unto Israel. And that's all in the scriptures, man. It says, the violence which police say is primarily fueled by gangs disproportionately affects several swaths of low-income black and Latino neighborhoods on the city's west and south sides of Chicago. The latest shooting stretched over a 60-hour period from Friday evening until early Monday morning came after city officials expressed optimism that Chicago had made headway in cutting the persistent gun violence. It says at the end of July, the city had recorded more than 300 murders, more than any other U.S. city, but an improvement for Chicago. Murders were down 23% compared with the same point last year, and the city tallied 19% fewer shooting incidents. You know, a lot of these gun violence and stuff that they put in the news, you know, was ultimately meant for them to pass legislations to take guns away. You know, they have in certain states where that if you're not mentally capable, or if they deem you're not mentally capable of handling a firearm, you know, they get to come take them all away and stuff. Send you, subpoena you to court. You know, they go through the process and everything. I forgot the exact legislation that was passed, but, you know, they got it already, and they already got everything moving. They got everything rolling, you know. It says, the weekend violence underscored that although the city had witnessed a positive trend, several neighborhoods remain volatile. Right, so it's always going to be murders and stuff going on. You know, it's only going to get worse. It says 39 people were shot, including 5 fatally, in a roughly 7-hour span late Saturday and early Sunday. and a half dozen of the weekend's incidents. At least 4 victims were wounded or killed by gunfire, according to police reports. Right, that's some spirits that be ready for vengeance. In one incident around 12:40 a.m. Sunday, several gunmen fired on a group of people standing in the courtyard of a building, wounded 8. The victims ranged in age from 14 to 35 in the shooting in the urban Gresham neighborhood on the city's south side. No one was in custody for the shooting. Around 3:30 a.m. Monday, police responded to a call of shots fired on the city's west side. Officers found a 29-year-old man wounded in the neck. He was transported to a nearby hospital but succumbed to his injuries. Right, so the Lord taking them out of this place. In a way they kind of lucky or blessed because of what's coming. You don't want to be around for. Let me bring out this scripture real quick. This is Amos chapter 9, verse 10. It says, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. Right, so a lot of these people that's dying, majority of these people that's dying is being killed off because of them being sinners, which say the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. Right, they don't believe in the day of the Lord, basically. They don't think that's what's coming is gonna happen, basically. So that's what they get. It says police have solved or made arrests in few of the killings. The murder clearance rate for the city hovered around 20% last year. The murder rate has been an issue for Emanuel, who is up for re-election in February. Monday morning, Emanuel visited 2 area hospitals that treated many of those wounded over the weekend to thank officials for their work. West Chicago witnessed this weekend was absolutely horrific and should not be tolerated. Mayoral challenger Paul Vallis said right now, Chicago has one of the worst clearance rates for homicides and other violent crimes among America's major cities. This is a crisis in which 4 out of 5 killers in Chicago are literally getting away with murder. Last week, dozens of protesters temporarily shut down the Windy City's Lakeshore Drive to express their outrage over Chicago's endemic gun violence and call for Emanuel's resignation. Right. These at least put these guns in Jake neighborhood. Got them killing each other, man, because they know these scriptures. So, But with that being said, all praise to Yahweh Shem Shai. Double honors to the elders and apostles that rule well. And salutations to the brothers that's doing